Hey everybody, and welcome to today's News Tonight, the weeknight news show where we're joined by special guests and our wonderful patrons to discuss the day's gaming news. I'm your host, Ash Paulson, and I'm joined today by my very good friends and GBG co-founders, Steve Bowling and Derek Bittner, as well as our very special guest today, PKSparkxx. Welcome, PK.
Yo, what's up, guys? PKSparkxx here. I'm not going to do the whole intro again, but thank you for having me. I'm glad to do so and talk some gaming with you wonderful gentlemen.
Well, we're very happy to have you here, and I love that. Yo! I don't think I've heard that quite yet on the show. That's great.
It's a thing from Philadelphia. Like, people say when they see somebody down the street, it's our thing. So, of course, I incorporate it.
Nice. Gotcha. Well, we're just happy to have you here, and we appreciate you taking time out of your Christmas Eve to spend a little time with us, man.
Heck yeah. Who needs wrestling when we got this? Let's go.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, let's go ahead. With that said, then, let's just go ahead and jump right into the news. And this story, actually, was one we were going to report on Monday, but we just kind of ran out of time, so we moved it to today. And let's go ahead and get that up on the screen. And that is that Banjo-Kazooie composer Grant Kirkhope has suggested to his followers that even if all of his followers and Playtonic's followers, which is about a combined 200,000 or so people, buying a new Banjo-Kazooie game wouldn't be enough to make Rare want to take the jump and do it. Basically, just kind of giving us a hard dose of reality that, hey, you know what, we get that you want a new Banjo-Kazooie, but this isn't enough people to make Rare bite. PK, are you a Banjo-Kazooie fan? Does this have any?
Absolutely. 100%.
Nice.
I
Hell
can
yes.
100% the first game within 10 hours. I love that game so much. So,
same.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And yeah, like what he says, I absolutely understand it, that Banjo-Kazooie, like, okay, one thing I've been taught is assume that 10% of your audience would buy something. So if he has 200,000 viewers, that means that, all right, time to get hit by some poor bad maths or quick maths. 10% of that, is that 20,000?
Yeah, yep. 20,000.
20,000. So if you put that in an ESRB of standard, let's say the standard 60, let's just do some quick maths. That is actually that's a lot of money. Apparently it's $1.2 million. But you also have to consider that you have companies out there that are selling, that can make a game and sell to 100,000 people, 500,000 people. So just the core base, no matter what the money turnaround may be, like, you got to consider that in multiplication, not just from one end. And you got to think about the time that goes into it. I would love it. I would absolutely love it.
Oh, yeah.
Please give me Banjo 3E. I need more Gruntilda. I need more Banjo. I want Jam Jars back. Give me a Racer. I want the whole nine. But it's an old IP at this point. How many people of this generation even know what Banjo-Kazooie is anymore?
I mean, beyond Smash?
Yeah, beyond Smash fans. Exactly. Yeah.
It's
I just say that was my favorite reveal ever. Just quick side note.
Oh, it's up there. It's
so good.
Incredible.
Oh man, I shed tears. But anyway.
We were right there with you, man. Like, we were in the E3 newsroom when that happened, and we all just kind of unanimously kind of jumped out of our seats, and we're like, "Woo!"
Jumped up, hugged each other.
I'm so glad Amy filmed that.
Yeah, that was we were so hyped. But yeah,
I think there was a follow-up to this tweet where I'm trying to remember exactly what it was, but the basic idea was, I think he was comparing it to Crash and Spyro, where we had the Crash trilogy, which sold super well, but apparently the numbers for Crash 4 aren't that great in comparison. Like, it's only a bit of a fraction. So it's like people only want to see their favorites repackaged, not necessarily a new game. It almost seems to be with that. I don't know the hard numbers or if that's a thing, but I did hear that in connection to this. And it does make you think, like, do you take that hit to try to build up another fan base with the games? Or it's like, well, here's a remake. It did really well. Let's make a new game. Oh, it didn't do as well. We put more effort into that. Well, what do we do now?
I think that's just more so a product of this generation. We're at a point where nostalgia works on us so much more than it should. Like, playing what we already know is good and just getting those nostalgia, what's what I'm looking for? Nostalgia
vibes, nostalgia
vibes.
Yeah, endorphins.
Let's go with vibes. Yeah. Nostalgia vibes going through. It lets us know, like, it reminds us, of a time where things were simple. Not to make it too serious when I say this.
No.
But our generation is at a point where things aren't kind of the best, but you know, a couple decades ago, things were kind of dope. We felt hopeful and whatnot. So we play these games that are, you know, from the late 90s, early 2000s, all of a sudden we're brought back to the N64 era, the Nintendo GameCube era, the start of the Wii. That was like the gaming time that really framed us into what we have today. And of course, N64 goes along with the PlayStation, goes along with the Dreamcast, etc. Those are like our formative years. So I think that is the real selling point, because Crash 1, 2, and 3, the trilogy, that thing sold, and I love it. This was my first time actually playing the games.
Oh,
but
wow.
I love it. But I mean, I'm looking at it right now, and the Crash 4 sales, at least from the end of November, were 402,000. Which, you know, it isn't bad, all things considered. It's much better than your average indie developer. But, you know, for a AAA developer like Activision, I can understand why they're like, maybe we aren't going to do this again. Yeah. But there's a polished game, so I don't know what it's going to take.
Do you think there's a value proposition with that? Because, you know, we got 3 Crash games for, $40 for that original release, and meanwhile, Crash 4 is $60 for one game. Granted, there's a decent amount of gameplay there, but I still think there's it's like almost a loss of value.
I remember hearing people talk about that, and I understand why the Crash 4 is 60 compared to Crash 1, 2, and 3 being 40, and that's simply because it's a rehashed experience versus a brand new experience. Yeah, I think that they were appropriate with how they priced it, because these are all packages. Now think of it like very similar to Super Mario 3D Land or 3D All Stars. Super Mario 3D All, I said it right. Yeah. Super Mario 3D All Stars. Where those games are essentially ports sold for the same thing, and people's like, this should not be worth $60. Mind you, I also bought 2, and I regret it. I haven't even owned 1. So, story for another time. But then you have Crash 1, 2, and 3, the trilogy, being remade, remastered, updated in every way, and sold for a smaller package smaller price, because essentially it is a rehashed package or rehashed experience. So with Crash 4, I get why it's for $60, and I don't get why people are mad. But I imagine that's because our generation is also cheap. And not by cheap, I mean...
don't have a lot of extra cash.
Appropriately so. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Appropriately so. We're frugal. That's the word I'm going for. We're frugal.
That's
well, and you know, Fizzywig Hoyt in the chat brings up a very good point that I think a lot of people overlook about a new Banjo-Kazooie, and that is, they said, unless Rare does something good with Banjo-Kazooie, they have absolutely zero interest in anything they produce. And the thing is, a lot of the people who made the original Banjo-Kazooie are no longer with the company. So the people who would be bringing us a new Banjo-Kazooie or Banjo 3 or whatever, they're not the same people who brought us these 2 games, and especially the first game that we hold so near and dear to our hearts. So there's no guarantee that even if we did get a new Banjo game, that it would live up to... I mean, even Yooka-Laylee didn't live up to Banjo-Kazooie, and it was made by a lot of the same people who made that game. So, you know, what are the chances that a new Banjo could live up to the hype? I mean, I look, I'd still play it. I'd still want a new Banjo game no matter what. But I do think there is something to be said there about how, you know, the old team is not all there anymore.
This Rare is basically, you should almost consider it a brand new developer. They're interested in making their own things, creating their own legacy. And it's sort of why we have a brand new studio handling the Perfect Dark game. That's not done by Rare. That's somebody else. That's why somebody else handled Killer Instinct. And so it almost seems like a better idea to bring in developers that, you know, have a familiarity or a passion for their games to make something new or remake it or however. So, but that also brings to the question, like you said, Ash, Playtonic didn't quite pull it off with Yooka-Laylee. So would Playtonic be the best choice for a Banjo remake / Banjo 3? Ideally, yes, but
I don't necessarily think that's a fair comparison. I get that the staff, like in terms of the people, it's absolutely fair. But in terms of the amount of money available and time given to develop, that absolutely isn't a fair comparison. What I think that Playtonic could potentially do it if they had that Nintendo AAA level of money that they had when they were making Banjo. And I think that probably, the issue here is I guarantee you that Banjo-Kazooie, like a new Banjo, has come up many, many times within the halls of Microsoft somewhere. And there's someone somewhere that says, look, we're just not going to make enough money back on this to make this game. Regardless of how many people say they want it, like whatever, however they create data models or projections or whatever, they have to be coming back with, because honestly, if they like ran an analysis and they said, man, we're going to make this thing's going to sell like hotcakes, according to our projections, they would absolutely make it. Right. And they would absolutely make sure it's the best game they possibly could. I guarantee you they don't go into these things and go, Halo Infinite's probably going to cost somewhere between $5 and $85 million. We don't know. They definitely have like a strong idea of how much it's going to cost them to make every single game they make and how much money they'll make back from that game. So I think that Banjo is just a matter of whatever that algorithm is or whatever those numbers that they feed in to try to figure it out, not shaking out the way they want them to. And that's really, really unfortunate. I think that's kind of like in a very, very roundabout way what Kirkhope is trying to say here. I'm not a huge Banjo fan. When you guys all lit up at E3, I was like, cool, I'm so happy for you guys. But I've literally never played Banjo. So I don't it's not that I hate it. It's just that I have zero history with the games. And I think what PK was saying about nostalgia being such a huge driving factor for us at our generation is so true. Like,
very true.
Because, I look at Sephiroth the other day. I was stoked, but I was also sitting on the floor of my living room in 1996 playing Final Fantasy VII on my PS1, and that's what hit me when I see Sephiroth, Same thing with Cloud. I remember the good old days, and again, speaking of what PK said, that's why I also picked up 2 copies of 3D All-Stars, because I was like, 64 was dope and they deserve my money still. So I bought 2.
I'm not alone, thank God.
So I get it. I hope that someday we get a new Banjo, and I truly hope that it is not Rare, the current Rare that makes it. I hope it's somebody with proven chops.
Rare seems to be on the upswing, though, because I have heard that their Sea of Thieves has gotten better. Their new game has potential.
I have heard the same.
We'll see how the new game turns out, and then we can decide what we think of Rare, I think.
I want to speak on 2 points before we move forward. The first point is what you said about money. That is such a massive thing. And that's the core thing about this whole thing. You guys got to remember, everyone needs to remember that as much as we as gamers, as consumers, see video games as escapism, as outlets, as mediums of expression, things we can relate to the people who develop them, this is a business.
Mm-hmm.
And
well said.
They want their time to equal money that can make the most money for their time, is what I'm trying to say. So, we can be fans of it all they want. Like I'm sure everybody here would love a new Banjo or whatever. I'm sure there are old series that everyone would love a new game too. Please give me a Diddy Kong Racing sequel, or Super Mario Strikers. Like, there are so many GameCube titles to go down to, but will it make the money? That I think that audience is dead because the IP has been gone for so long, which is why everyone should just give up hope on getting a new Star Fox. Press F. But the other point
and
I want to
F-Zero.
talk to is, as you were saying earlier, the developers. Even if they announced Banjo-Kazooie, you got to remember that that IP belongs to the company Rare, not the developers behind it.
Right.
So, the company can produce this, but 2021 Rare is not 1998 Rare. It's been 2 decades, my dude. You gotta move on.
I feel like. Sorry, I feel like we might be related, only because I've said very much the same thing in other ways, less eloquent ways than the way you just said it, but it is so true. It is so true that it is a business at the end of the day, and fans do tend to forget that. I've had so many people tell me, God, screw Capcom for not making Mega Man Legends 3 yet. Dude, that would be a sequel to a game that is like 20 years old that itself was a cult classic. Like, there's no money in it for them, as much as I'd like it. So I totally hear you.
Legends requires quite a bit of development, and most Mega Man games don't sell. Haven't sold over 1 million copies. So those are.
I do have to say though,
AA games, I guess, was go with.
in the spirit of putting good vibes out there. Remember that if Shenmue 2 can get a sequel 18 years later on Kickstarter, anything can happen. So keep hope alive. Vote with your wallet when you can.
I mean, Mega Man 11 was.
Where is Metroid Prime 4?
Yeah,
right.
Where is Bayonetta 3?
If Nintendo starts a Kickstarter for that right now, I'll give them all our AdSense money.
If Nintendo starts a Kickstarter, there is no hope.
112 in the chat is asking why I must hurt them so. Dude, I want Mega Man Legends 3 just as much as you or anybody.
I'm sorry.
I got to be realistic about it, unfortunately. Now, that said, before we move on, if Microsoft ever wanted to tap Playtonic to do a Banjo-Kazooie 2D platformer, sign me up, because Impossible Lair was such an incredible game. Like, nice. the jump in quality from Yooka-Laylee 1 to Impossible Lair was just galaxy-sized. It was insane. But with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the next story. And the Nintendo leak train just keeps on rolling, because now, with the newest leaks, we have now seen some of the original plans for the Switch in terms of its early design and some of its cut features. And what's really funny about this is that it's actually visually remarkably similar to to one of the more popular mock-ups that was posted online during the NX hype speculation days. And so, shockingly, that mock-up wasn't so far off from apparently what the Switch could have actually been at one point. And there's some really interesting tidbits here. Like, the console was originally going to apparently support 3D video and be backwards compatible with the 3DS. And as part of that, Street Pass and Spot Pass and pedometer features were also planned like the 3DS, which hurts me because I am such a huge Street Pass stan, and I miss it so much. And to know that it was possibly at one point going to be included in the Switch, it hurts. But what do you guys? What are your takes on this? Some of the stuff that we ended up not getting in the Switch.
It's really comes across as a lost Nintendo handheld, like dedicated handheld. Yeah. I know the Switch name was decided apparently back in 2014, but it really seems like once they partnered with Nvidia and got like a massive increase in power, like, oh, we can do much more of this and make it almost like this hybrid that we've been maybe thinking about, and just went in that direction rather than a 3DS successor, which is fascinating in that way.
I don't miss the 3DS. It was a great console, but I have bad memories of me breaking my shoulder button to Mario Kart 7. So, but no, jokes aside, I mean, no, the DS is great. It was great, but that 3D was a heavy gimmick that should have been scrapped a long time ago.
No, I love the 3D.
Only a few games really utilized it well. Super Mario 3D Land comes to mind. I thought that game did the 3D fantastic. It did. Especially Kid Icarus Uprising. The 3D on that game,
it did.
Especially when you're flying. It was so good. But not every game was able to utilize it. To that same point, it reminded me of how the gamepad on the Wii U should have been so revolutionary. Look at this dusty thing. Oh, it's so lovely. But yeah, this should have been so revolutionary. And the best example we got of it was from Batman Arkham City remake, whatever that was. We could use it for the tools. But otherwise, no one took advantage of it. It became just an accessory. So that's what I think essentially happened with the 3DS, where it came down to a point where, you know, the 3D was a gimmick. It wasn't bad as a handheld. As a matter of fact, it was great as a handheld. It's just, it's old. What else can you do with it?
Yeah,
I don't have nothing. They stopped making puzzles. They took away the pilot wings, the 3D one, we take pictures and whatnot. Took that away.
A resort.
What is it? It was a lot of them. Remember the Pokemon Dream Radar? That was also very fun.
I do remember that. Yeah, that was cool.
That was a lot of fun.
And
but it became a meme at this point. The 3DS became a meme, and that's why I think it's been pushed, and I'm glad they went for it. But the features that came from it, the 3DS, I don't know. Would I want Street Pass back again? Do I want to carry a $300 device openly available, not able to fit in my pocket? I don't know.
It'd be good for conventions because I always carried around that. I don't know.
Because I usually have my Switch with me anyway. Yeah.
Wait, it can't fit in my pocket. Wait, hold up.
There you go.
Nice. Hey, there you go.
Screwed, but
turn on Street Pass. You're good to go.
Yeah. Essentially, wait, they might have messed up on something.
Real quick to Kairudo. It says, imagine playing 3DS games in 3D and HD. That's the thing. The screen capped out at 480p on this original Switch design.
Right.
Ew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think there are some really cool things and some really just awful things. And it's hard to say because obviously this is like early iteration hardware, right? This is 2014, which is weird to believe. I mean, well, the wildest thing for me out of this whole set of revelations is that they already had the Switch name decided 6 years ago. Like they're like, Nintendo Switch. But some of the stuff you can tell, like, technologically wouldn't have worked out. Like, they were talking about using Miracast instead of docking. So they always had the, like, play on the TV idea. But if you've ever used a Miracast, it is laggy and
it's
gross.
Terrible.
I've heard.
I tried playing Beat Saber on it. Ugh.
Yeah, trying to sync inputs with that laggy tech would have been terrible. And that's probably why it was so low res, or at least part of it, because pushing anything higher than 480p to a screen would have been awful. Imagine playing 480p on a TV, but
yeah,
you know, didn't
we all do that when we were 10?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
we all did.
We did it with the Wii,
but we didn't do it with the 65-inch OLED.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Forgot about that.
That's
amazing that
true.
Super Mario Galaxy is 480p, but continue.
Yeah, no, there are some things in here though that are really cool. One, I'm a Nintendo hardware like geek. Like when we get into that hype cycle, when everybody starts wondering what the next Nintendo console is going to look like, I am the first person on Resetera like eating up all these mock-ups that fans make and obsessing over whether or not they could be accurate. Like I probably still on a hard drive somewhere have a folder of like every NX mock-up I found. I live for those moments. The other thing that I wish they would have done though, the thing that I think I feel pain for the most is a Miiverse successor.
Yes!
I want Nintendo World.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I know that it's a social media platform, and I want it. That's all I got.
Yeah,
and I can definitely concede that, like, while I actually personally was a fan of the stereoscopic 3D, especially when it was utilized well, I can definitely concede that it did not need to return on the Switch or any successor. I can absolutely admit that. However, Street Pass would have been great to keep, and just 3DS backwards compatibility, just the concept of that by itself, even without stereoscopic 3D. You know, there's so many great games on 3DS that are locked on 3DS.
I hugely
that can't
disagree.
be played anywhere else. Really,
why
is that?
It's not because I don't want the games. It absolutely not because I don't want the games. 3DS has one of the best libraries of any Nintendo platform, especially when you consider
gaming console.
Yeah. It's one of the best libraries of all time. But if you look at it from, again, like a technical perspective, that means that the architecture in the Switch would have had to have been based on what's in the 3DS, which means no NVIDIA, which means, you know, we probably would have gotten a much worse product for our money than what we got. Like Nintendo partnering with NVIDIA was one of the smartest things they did. And
I completely agree. Yeah. I don't know nearly as much about tech as you do, obviously, but this does say that the ST Switch would have had dedicated hardware to facilitate 3DS backwards compatibility. Does it have to be either or can that not exist together?
So you could do something similar like the PS3, the launch model that had the Emotion engine in it, that had like PS2 hardware, but then you'd have like a bigger, fatter, heavier Switch, right? With probably worse battery life. You know, I think that Nintendo pushed the limits of what people are willing to accept in a portable form factor with the Switch we have now. Like, just as PK was showing, he's like, it doesn't fit in my pocket, and then, you know, worked it in there. I mean, think about anything even remotely a bit bigger than what we have now, and it would people would probably just start leaving it at home, not taking it out. Like, I already leave mine at home.
That's a good point.
You know, so
but don't get me wrong, I definitely take my Switch out when I'm traveling. I think that's one of the best things about it. I love JRPGs. So when I'm taking a flight, especially if I'm going cross country, being able to take my Switch and play Tales of Vesperia for 4-5 hours on the plane, you know, with charger, mind you. But yeah, still that was such a good experience for me. So I think that the initial concept is good. And of course, you also have the Switch Lite because actually, why does the Switch Lite exist? Just a cheaper version?
Yeah, to kind of capture that more dedicated handheld market, I think, for kids. Kids seem like a big thing.
People who just really don't care if they can play it on TV or not. I think there are, especially in Japan, you know, that's the portable gaming is such a huge part of the culture. I think, you know, there are people out there who really couldn't care less if they can connect their Switch to the TV and are perfectly happy having a handheld only system. So I guess for those people, the Switch Lite does make sense.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I like the concept of it. I don't like this mock-up that came out with. What the heck do you think is going on with the control? No. All right.
Yeah.
I understand that phones do it with cameras. It's completely different when your giant man hands are sliding all over the screen. Stop that. Bad idea.
Yeah.
That was. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's no bad ideas, but.
Well,
no, there's some bad ideas.
Since I'm talking to a fellow JRPG lover and we're talking about the 3DS, I just have to mention Bravely Second, my game of the year for 2016, one of my favorite JRPGs ever.
I love that game. Was it Bravely Default 2 on the Switch?
That's coming out next year. Yeah, but Bravely Second, I just adored.
Was it?
And I just
actually, it was pushed back, wasn't it? No.
Yeah, it was pushed back to February. I think it's coming out now.
Not February. That's when 3D World Bowser's Cat Bowser.
It is. It is. I could be wrong, but I think it's February.
Bowser's.
I think it might be February.
I want you to be wrong so much. I'll be so sad because I gotta prioritize. But I mean, well.
Yeah, I know. I mean, we
still
the backlog just gets bigger and bigger.
Default 2 demo.
Yeah.
I haven't either. I've been so busy. I still would like to record a playthrough of it though for our channel. Maybe I can do that during the Christmas break, or stream it. Maybe.
I heard it's like 5 hours to do whatever you want.
Oh really? Oh, so it's a time demo.
I guess so.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to checking that out.
On Default 2?
Yeah, they released a new demo of Default 2.
Did they? I need it. I already maxed out the other one. I need it. So good.
I'm excited too. All right, well, let's go ahead and move on to our next story, and this one is quite the story.
All right, let's throw that up.
So Kentucky Fried Chicken, bear with me here. Kentucky Fried Chicken has announced the KF console, which is essentially a mini PC enclosure that has its own oven area for keeping your fried chicken warm while you play your games. And this thing can run games at 4K, 240 FPS. It has 2 terabytes of storage. Like, this thing is actually outdoing the PS5 and Xbox Series X in some respects. And not only that, it can keep your chicken warm. What else could you possibly ever need from anything, right? What are your takes on this, guys? I don't even.
Yeah, PK, you have something to say. It seems.
He's got some thoughts. You can tell.
So I want you to know, I saw the video. I know this was announced. I would have spent my life savings on this being a joke. I am just now learning that this is serious.
Really? See, if it was anybody other than KFC, I would agree with you. But KFC is kind of known for some of this stuff. Like there's that Colonel Sanders dating game on Steam.
There was a dating game, and then they released like a short Hallmark-like film about the Colonel finding love.
Oh god!
Right, I forgot about that.
Serious.
With I think it was Mario Lopez that played the
I have to watch that. I haven't seen it. Yeah,
I need some minutes to actually process this because this is serious. Why? Okay. Let's talk about it.
Why not?
How bad is it for your gaming console to be near something that is constantly hot enough to keep your chicken warm? Pause. Why are you encouraging people to touch technology with greasy chicken fingers? Pause. Why do you think that people are only going to put chicken in this grill? What makes you think people won't try to make a pizza in there or something? Pause. Why do you want people? Why do you want people again to touch their gaming console with greasy gamer hands? There is so much wrong.
All right.
There's a lot to unpack.
I've never understood the idea of Doritos to go with gamer because, again, greasy hands while you're playing a console. I don't want that crap all over my controller.
I can't believe I have to spell this out for you
Mountain
guys.
Dew, let's go. Let's get it.
This was designed by people who were drunk at the time of design and all throughout the process. Like, have you never had a moment, like, let's just be real. Have none of you ever had a moment where you are trashed and you're playing a game and you're like, I need to eat something right now?
It's true.
I do that all the time. Like, once I pass
drink,
a certain point of inebriation, I'm like, I need a steak sandwich immediately.
I mean, that's true. But that's
I'm just amazed that Asus, Cooler Master, and Seagate all went along with this. It supports virtual VR. It's VR ready.
I know, but if I was,
hell?
If I was, you're again going back to the whole reason Banjo doesn't exist. It's money, right? Like if I'm sitting here with my drunk ass idea saying, "Man, I need like a chicken warming PC," and I have $85 million burning a hole in my pocket, Cooler Master will be like, "Yeah, whatever you want, Chief."
Here's my thing. Give me a price. I gotta admit, it's going to be terrible, but I want it.
This is a reactor and opening YouTuber's dream.
Yes.
Exactly. Like, let's look at me. I'm gaming. Chicken fingers. I'm gaming some more. Headshot, chicken finger. Like, it's gold. But it's definitely... Oh, man.
So, at least based on one article on Collider.com, there's a speculative price point of around $2,000.
Makes sense.
That makes sense to me.
I was wondering what the price is going to be.
All right, I'm not spending the mortgage on this. Wait.
No. It's definitely beefy.
Oh, that was almost Azran level punnery.
I mean, I didn't mean to do it. I was just like, it's a beefy thing, but it's also like, I'm not spending that much. I was just getting a dedicated PC.
I would absolutely. There's one thing I want to point out though, hardware wise, that is actually really interesting about this thing. It mentions a hot swappable GPU.
I was going to mention that. Yeah.
What? Like, that's the graphics card. What? You're just like, I need more FPS, and you pull out your graphics card and shove another one in there?
Yeah. And I love that. I love the shade that Mark Cheevers, the PR and social media lead at KSC UK and Ireland, has thrown at Microsoft and Sony with this quote. And it's this. This machine is capable of running games at top-level specs, all on top of keeping your meal warm for you to enjoy during your gaming experience. What's not to like? If Sony or Microsoft want any tips on how to engineer a chicken chamber for their efforts next time, they'd be welcome to get in touch. That's just
I mean, the PS5 also isn't $2,000, so there's that. There's also
air horns on that.
Maybe they were really inspired by the PS3's George Foreman grill design. It was like, you know what? We should have a grill in this system.
See, that's what I was just thinking. Like, you could just buy a $20 griddle, put it next to you, and boom, does the same thing.
True.
It's silly.
Silly.
I gotta say though, 4K, 240 FPS, 240 hertz output up to it, ray tracing, VR ready, 2 separate Seagate Barracuda 1 terabyte SSDs. I mean, this thing is loaded.
Yes,
and not just with chicken.
You know what? I don't want this. I don't want this to play games on. I want to make GVG videos on this thing. It is a PC, and I can store chicken in my editing rig. I am down.
That is perfect for E3.
I really want the excuse that I have a video late to be like, chicken grease got into my computer and destroyed it.
Yeah.
Everything's gone.
As big as a PS5 is, the fact that they couldn't fit a grill in there is just a folly. It's a mistake.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
What are they doing?
Fire your engineers, honestly.
Oh man, the chat's going wild with chicken puns. Evernight Studio says KFC is really grilling the competition with this. And Dustin Mirage says, damn it, Derek.
Sucks.
Right? Dustin Mirage says, damn it, Derek, you really should have chickened out of that pun, man.
Hey, Azran said, you mean $2,000 isn't a paltry price point?
Oh, that is so good. Azran, I visited Azran. We were doing a holiday gift giving thing. No joke. Azran's island name in Animal Crossing is also a pun. I think it's a sangria or something. Like, Azran, please correct me in the chat, but I remember thinking that this is like not just a thing you do here. Like, this is just your life.
It's a state of being.
Yep.
ETNO Ben says they're going to ask the Colonel for a review unit because fried chicken and video game music are 2 of their 4 favorite things. Hell yeah.
I want to know what your other 2 favorite things are.
Yeah.
Sangria, nice.
Like, let us get to know you better, patron. What's up? How are you doing? What are your other 2 favorite things? Let us know in the comments.
All right, well, I think we've pretty much said everything we can on the KF console, so let's go ahead and move on to our next story.
Want some chicken.
And that is that Copenhagen, Denmark-based Nordisk Games has acquired 40% of MercurySteam. Of course, MercurySteam being the developer of Metroid: Samus Returns and Castlevania: Lords of Shadow Mirror of Fate. And they are calling it a sizable investment. So, yeah, I've never heard of Nordisk Games personally. Have any of you?
No. Heard of SanDisk?
I haven't either.
Yeah, that's actually what I was thinking. It's like, why did SanDisk get this? It's completely mixed up the 2.
Yeah, same. And apparently Nordisk already has investments in 8 European games companies, including full ownership of Just Cause and Mad Max developer Avalanche Studios. And this all comes from VideoGamesChronicle.com, by the way. So, yeah, I mean, this is clearly far from the first acquisition or high-profile acquisition they've taken part in. But, yeah, MercurySteam, for their part, seems to be excited about it. So...
I mean, they do.
I wish you the best. I mean, clearly they have a game in mind and they want this company to work on it because they're a fan of Castlevania, Lord of Shadows, and Metroid Samus Returns. I hope that the games aren't too much of a copy. This is just all speculation, obviously. But, just saying, hey, we acquired it, it's like, okay, but what are you producing from it? So, whether or not they produce quality remains to be seen, definitely. But, good for you. I wish you the best in your future endeavors.
Yeah.
So I went to Nordic Games' website just because I'm like, what else do these guys do? And the first thing they do is, first thing they have on here is our approach. We make equity investments in European development studios. And they're basically their goal, our agenda is aligned with the foundries for the long run. Build great games and successful companies. So basically, they're just almost like investing in things to make sure they can do it. They do Flashbulb Games, Avalanche, as you said, Kogama, Retromoto, Star Stable. It's
I've
interesting.
Never heard of any of these games.
I haven't either, but I guess they're more European.
I mean,
things like there.
I'll be honest, though, the one thing that kind of struck me, like the takeaway from this story for me was, they're working on more games. It's like, I mean, hopefully that means that they've got something going on with Nintendo still, because that's really what I think we all care about them for at this point. MercurySteam, Castlevania, Lord of Shadow.
I still have love for them from Lord of Shadow. Those games were better than people give them credit for.
I'm not saying they're bad games. I'm just saying in recent memory, I refer to them as, those are the Metroid guys. That was a good game. I liked that. So I hope. Well,
I'm glad they were able to recover, because I at least heard, I didn't play it, but I heard that Lords of Shadow 2 was pretty awful for various reasons. So I'm glad they were able to recover from that. No, you liked it.
I put that in my top 10 Castlevania games.
Wow.
Top
okay.
10.
Fair enough.
Now, my question becomes, how many Castlevania games are there?
32 around there.
Really?
Yeah.
I want to fact check that.
I played them all, so yes.
He did the whole... He is as into Castlevania as I am into Mega Man. I
played every single Castlevania game.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
I think there was a lot of development issues. It could have been even better, but what they actually managed to pull off is barring a awful sneaking bits in the early on, which really doesn't leave. Both Lords of Shadow games suffer from really bad openings. It takes a while for them to get good, but once they get good, they get really good.
Gotcha.
So that's the kind of problem with those.
That's probably
Azran
why.
1, 2.
Oh, I was just going to say that's probably why so many people say it's not good. Like I'll be the first to admit, any game has a good hour with me, and that's usually like where I make that call. Like, am I going to keep playing this, or is this going on the shelf? And if you can't at least give me like the hint of something good in that first hour, I'm just out. I'm like, forget it. I got other games to play.
That's fair.
I get you. Yeah. And that's what happened with me. I bounced off Lords of Shadow 2 the first time I played it, but then I, was doing that marathon. I was like, well, got to play the whole thing now. And all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, this is awesome.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, there are certain games that are absolutely worth playing, even if they don't hook you within that first hour. But Steve, I totally hear you. I only have so many hours to play games freely, right? So, when somebody tells me, "Oh, it gets really good 15 hours in," I'm like, "Nah, man, you got to get me before that." Even though I absolutely admit that there are games for which that is true. Like hell, yesterday was Kingdom Hearts 2's 15th birthday, I think, and that's a perfect example of a game like that. Fantastic game, but the opening 4 hours kind of suck. So it's just it's just a matter of how much time you're willing to invest. Azran127 with a next level pun here, even for you, gosh. Azran. I've heard of neither Avalanche nor Nordisk Studios. That is a 15 out of 10.
Oh God,
pun, my friend. All right. Well, on that,
either way, I'd be very happy for MercurySteam to either be working on an HD port of Samus Returns or another 2D Metroid.
Give me a damn 2D Metroid already. Any old
it sucks.
Metroid.
I got to I love Samus Returns. I played all of it, and I got to what I'm pretty sure is the final boss, and then I just put it down. I never got around, never actually finished it. So I'd be happy to play an HD version, a re-release, because it was great, and I just needed to see the ending. I don't know why I put it down. All right, well, after that pun, I don't think there's much more we can say about Nordisk Games, so let's go ahead and move on to our next story. And, this has to do with everyone's favorite red echidna, and that is that in Sonic 2, the movie, we're going to see Knuckles. We don't know what his involvement's going to be yet, but apparently he is going to be more than a cameo, more than what Tails got in Sonic 1. So Knuckles is going to be in Sonic 2, and he's going to have a pretty significant role, apparently. And this comes by way of the Illuminerdy.com, by the way, which is a fantastic name for a website. So... yeah, I am. Well, I was already really hyped for Sonic 2. The Sonic movie ended up being way better than it had any right to be, and I'm a huge Sonic fan anyway. So
thank you for listening to the fans.
Yeah.
Hell yeah! No,
yeah. They remade that model and saved the game. Movie. Yeah. No, but as soon as I saw Tails at the end of Sonic 1, my hype for the second movie, which hadn't been confirmed at that point, just shot through the roof. And then, of course, where do you go after Tails? You go to Knuckles. And we're just hoping Knuckles is in there, and apparently he's going to be. And I really hope they tap Hunted P to record a new rap, like a new rap theme song for him. I know they won't.
No, well, also the Hunted P is.
Oh, right. No, he turned out to be a jerk. I forgot about that. Yeah. Okay. Never mind.
Yeah. Two things. Bummer. One, all the music from Sonic Adventure and basically how can I say this? Urban-fied Knuckles. Yeah, all of that just comes to my mind. I'm sitting here singing the song in my head is great. And
Pumpkin Hill.
Two, I had no idea that Tails appeared at the end of the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, so I just got spoiled. But
I'm sorry.
Have you not seen the movie?
No.
Oh,
I have not. Literally, I think my daughter was 4 months at that time, and the world started burning at that point. So I couldn't find time to do a lot of things. I want to. Isn't it on Netflix now? If so, I should probably watch
It's not on any streaming services, but it's the Blu-ray's out there, and I actually picked it up pretty recently for like $10.
And you also find it at Redbox too.
I think you can also like rent it if you have like an Apple TV or something. I think you can rent it through Apple or whatever, or Google, like Apple. If you have a set-top box. I'm pretty sure that's how I watch it.
I'm sure I can find it.
PK, I take spoilers just as seriously as you do, so I am truly sorry. It is still worth watching, though, I promise.
It's been 10 months. Don't worry.
I'm actually surprised you avoided that on Twitter, because I feel like I was all over the place on Twitter.
I learned a long time ago if I don't want to be spoiled to just not mention it, and I've learned to dodge everything. You should see my filters. When something hype is about to happen, I filter everything. It's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, I'm excited for Knuckles, and I really hope they don't take the generic plot of, hey, Knuckles was tricked. He's the main antagonist. Oh man, it was Eggman behind the whole thing. Time for Sonic Heroes. You know?
Well, I'm looking through this article, maybe lower those hopes a bit, because it says Knuckles will stay true to his video game incarnation, as he will be able to glide as well as climb walls. They are currently casting an actor to voice Knuckles, and his personality was described to us as serious in nature but still gullible at times.
Sounds like also him in the games.
Yeah. They're also casting a supporting character named Randall, who will only be interacting with the human characters, and specifically not Sonic. Even more interesting is that the production is also searching for an A-list human cameo to make an appearance in the movie. Names like Samuel L. Jackson and Chris Rock were thrown around. However, the big name cameo is still up in the air at this time.
It's going to be Kevin Hart.
Right.
He's in like every movie.
I wonder if that means that James Marsden won't be returning. That would be kind of weird if he wasn't.
I feel like the fact that there's a character that only interacts with other humans makes me think James Marsden's in there. They're going to be kind of split up.
Maybe, yeah.
Like Sonic and James Marsden are going to be split up, and they have their own sort of stories.
Right, and I mean that would make sense given where. Well, I don't want to say anything, but given what happens in the movie, I don't want to say any more than that though, because I don't want to spoil you any more than I have, PK.
I'm trying to think. Appreciate it. I'm trying to think of who could voice Knuckles. Like, for some reason, I can't think of the actor's name, but the man who voiced Krunk in Emperor's New Groove.
Oh,
I think it's the same voice actor.
That's a deep cut.
But I think that's also like a reach. Is not the right voice. Like I think it would be the right attitude, but not the right voice. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, whoever it
Warburton
is,
was his
they
name, that's
just
it.
have to. Oh, Patrick Warburton. I could maybe
For Knuckles?
I don't know if I could see. Yeah, I don't know.
That's a bit too burly of a voice, I think, for Knuckles. Like, I don't know how.
I
else
mean,
to
have you seen
describe
Knuckles
it.
in Sonic Boom? He's quite the burly fellow.
That's
Sonic
true.
Boom.
He's
It's
pretty,
true.
he's pretty jacked.
Whoever they get, as long as they have him say, "Oh no," when he gets hit at some point in the movie.
Please.
That has to happen.
If he can't use that, just use that soundbite. Don't even edit it or re-record it. Just that sound. Oh no, that's all I need.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Yeah, and I'm not sure who it was in the. Oh yeah, Dusk Mirage says, "Oh my God, please let there be some references to the Sonic Adventure 2 raps in the movie." Yeah, even if it's just the background music for Pumpkin Hill or something, please. I would love just anything like that. Yeah.
They need I want not Knockers Knuckles. I want all of that. Unlike Sonic, I don't chuckle. I want all the 20 memes. Feed it to me. All right? Warm it up in the KFC console.
Yes.
Feed it to me.
I
love
the
it.
KFC console.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm really excited for how this movie seems to be turning out, and PK, it's absolutely still worth watching, despite what you now know. Like, it's definitely worth a trip.
I can't wait to see Amy finally get her kiss from Sonic. Let's go. Yeah.
Nice.
Except
Wait till
that
Bowser
Amy in
and
the movies
Eggman
is actually
comes
human.
Oh no.
Oh God, no.
Oh.
By the way, Joshua Hunter says the PlayStation Store has Sonic on sale right now for $8.99. So
Nice.
that's one potential avenue for you, PK, if you want to watch it.
I'm down. We're gonna buy it. Also, Sonic 06.
Oh God.
Like you said, Amy is human, and it don't do that. Oh,
Yeah, I
oh
know.
God, please don't do that.
Just smile, Elise.
I'm trying to think of like a celebrity voice that actually worked for Knuckles. Because Ben Schwartz isn't like a huge actor, but he's still up there.
I just want Gilbert Gottfried for Knuckles. I'm just.
Oh God,
Man.
No,
What about,
wait. Can we bring back the old school robots from the old cartoon for Gilbert Gottfried just to voice him?
Oh man!
Name, but you know
Nice.
the green guy with the horn for the drill.
Yeah, I know who you're talking
Scratch
about.
and Grounder.
Yes, that's
Oh
what we
God.
need.
I
That's what we
apologize for those of you wearing headphones. I'll try to be a little quiet. That's my scratch impression there.
Not bad.
Pretty good.
The Saturday morning show is great. I was never a fan of the other one. I think it's Adventures of, but yeah,
It was really good.
112, Jim Carrey, I think, has already been confirmed to return as Eggman, so you don't have to worry
yes,
about
he
that.
has, which is the most important part.
Yeah,
If he doesn't gain weight for the job, I don't want it.
I know.
it's true. He needs to
I know,
look like
right?
an egg.
All
Just get a
right,
vaccine.
well, let's go ahead and move on to our final news story of the day, and this concerns one of my favorite series that is near dear to my heart. And that is that Silent Hill's creator, Keiichiro Toyama, is working on a new horror-themed action-adventure game that, quote, that will appease fans of his previous work with his new company, Bokeh Game Studio. Sign me up. I always say I respect Resident Evil. I play some of them. I follow the series from a distance. But Silent Hill, man, is my jam. And I would be happy to play anything this man makes, given that he also created Silent Hill and Siren, by the way. And hell yeah, sign me up. Are you guys, any of you Silent Hill fans?
I've not actually played any of the games. I've been meaning to. Around the
Those would be
Halloween
good ones to
times, I
stream.
just hasn't done it, but I haven't got a chance. But I know they're well loved, and I want to check them out at some point.
The first 3 games, at least. After that, you can kind of stop. But the first 3 games.
I hate horror games.
Oh, okay.
Like
Fair enough.
I am not good with jump.
Fair.
I can't play Five Nights at Freddy's.
Mm.
Like I
Fair.
can't. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not like nervous, but being in situations where nerves are naturally on high, I don't do well in those. Like I can't. Every little sound, the jump scares, the unnecessary spooks, the unnecessary settings, the low lighting, the creaking of the floors. There's so much that I'm just like, no. So no, unfortunately, I am not a fan of Silent Hill. But if I need to go to a haunted house, I'm bringing it back.
Nice.
I am right there with you. Like
Frank West taught me that.
You guys may be safe then, because he explained that if anything, this game he's working on will be more of a horror-oriented game, but they will focus on making this a broader entertainment experience rather than a hardcore horror game. So it sounds like it might not be quite as deep into the horror well as something like Silent Hill. So maybe it would be something that could, have enough of a broad appeal to pull in non-horror fans as well. I'm not sure.
Maybe the chat will know this, because I know Shinji Mikami helped create Resident Evil, and then he went on to do Evil Within 1 and 2. How were those games? I think I heard Evil Within 2 was better than the first.
So I can talk about Evil Within 2. I wrote IGN's guide for that game. So
nice.
I've played a lot of Evil Within 2, and it is really good. Like, stupendously good. Nice. And I'm not a big fan. Like, I just said, I'm not a big scary game guy. But it leans more into like action and mystery than horror. And dude, I can't recommend it enough. Like, it is one of the few. So I've done like a lot of guides for IGN, and it is typically like the kind of work where they assign you a game and you're like, oh man, I know I'm gonna hate this game by the time I'm done because of the amount I'm about to play it. Like, that is why Xenoblade Chronicles 2, for instance, I have not picked it up since 3 days before it came out, because I played it an exhaustive amount within 2 weeks.
Oh, I don't blame you. Yeah.
But Evil Within 2, like, I remember, even though I was doing like the mundane stuff, like hunting for good weapons, power-ups, like rare items, that kind of stuff, I still was like, God, this game is like so incredibly well put together. I remember specifically, and without spoilers, the ending sequence, I still cannot puzzle together how they made it work from a technical perspective, because it does just some incredible like stuff that I would be surprised to see the PlayStation 5 do, in terms of just like how they moved polygons around the screen at the rate they did on last gen hardware was super impressive to me. So it is a great game, both in terms of it hits on all fronts, mechanical, narrative, and technical. It is an excellent game, and if you're into Shinji Mikami's work, you absolutely have to play it.
Nice.
That's a glowing review.
Yeah.
Thanks. I should have reviewed it for IGN.
Right?
Nebellion actually has a bit more, who reported on this from the IGN article, has some highlights. Apparently they're aiming for a 2023 release date, so don't expect this anytime soon. They must have just gone into production. But the dev team is described as fairly large, with PC being the lead platform right now. So,
right. Also, Yen the Reaper in the chat. Two things. First of all, welcome, because I don't recognize your name.
Yeah, hi.
Reaper, so welcome.
Hello.
And you also asked, didn't he work on Gravity Rush? Yeah, he's the creator of Gravity Rush. So even if you're not into horror, he has a pedigree that is outside of horror. I mean, Gravity Rush is awesome. So
I have it, but I haven't played it.
I haven't played it, but I
played it on
watched
Vita.
so many playthroughs of it. It's really good.
Nice.
Yeah. But, well, that brings us to the end of our news stories for the day. So, we're kind of wrapping up our show here. But before we sign off, PK, where can our lovely audience find you?
If you guys want to watch the pinnacle of Mario Let's Plays and more, you can find me on YouTube at Alright, wait, let me explain. Dat Hotness. I got it from Men in Black 2. Old and busted, new hotness. Well, I'm the new hotness, but I called it Dat Hotness.
Fair.
I was 13. Leave me alone.
We all have.
If you
those
just search
type
up
of names.
PK Sparks on YouTube, you should find me on YouTube. You should find me on Twitter. You can find me on Twitch. I stream on Twitch weekdays 8 p.m. I'm getting back to uploading on YouTube fairly soon. I just gotta wait for my new computer to come in, and that's gonna be exciting. So if you guys like TCG pack openings, Mario and Nintendo games, and good vibes, as you know, because I know you guys do, you're here. Then check me out, and I think you guys will have yourself a fun time as well.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, PK, thank you again, man.
If I can plug one thing, this weekend on Twitch, I am doing a Diddy Kong Racing live stream playthrough. That's also going to be a charity event to raise money for adoptaclassroom.org.
Hell
so
yeah!
if you guys like it, it's December 26th to the 28th. It's Diddy Kong Racing. We're going to have donation incentives. It's my first time doing a charity, but I'm excited for it. So I hope to see you guys come through. I just want to raise money and try to help teachers teach students, because education is very important.
Hell yeah.
Hell yes, it is. Well, that's
Sweet. That's yeah.
I'll make sure to drop in, man. I'm going to watch that. So y'all in the chat, please come watch with me. I'll be there.
And good luck against WizPig, because that is still, to my mind, one of the most frustrating boss battles.
Oh, I gave up.
But it's so good! I'm so excited for that one.
Nice.
I played Diddy Kong with Amy, and I was getting towards, like, got to that later stuff with Diddy Kong. It's like, oh my god, this game is so freaking hard. Why is it so hard if you want to see everything?
It gets tough.
I'm just hoping chat doesn't make me play with Crunch, but, that's a donation incentive, so if y'all want me to play with the worst character in the game.
Oh, man.
I mean, I've seen how charities can torture, some call me Johnny, so you can probably expect something similar.
I'm excited for it. I got things in plan, so it won't be too bad. But yeah, Diddy Kong Racing, December 26th to the 28th, raising money for AdoptAClassroom.org beginning at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on twitch.tv/PKSparkxx.
Nice.
Sweet. Well, I can't think of any better vibes to end off on than that. So thank you for that. And PK, thank you again for joining us, man. You're welcome back anytime, and we've had a blast having you on the show.
Hell yeah.
Heck yeah. Thank you for inviting me. It was great to have some conversations about just the gaming nuances of everything. Even with Steve's PS5 just taunts me.
I hear that.
It's lonely over here, man. I have no one to play games on this thing with. Like, my friends list, I think I know like 4 people that have one.
You don't play with the PS5. You flex it. It's like a Lambo. You don't drive it.
Well, I mean,
I got it.
If that's a deal breaker for you, man, you can just send it to me. I'll take it. No worries.
I've had that conversation before.
I'll find some friends. Don't worry about it. I'll take that burden off your hands.
Right, exactly. But, before we wrap up here, as always, we have to give a special thanks to all of our wonderful patrons at the producer tier and above for helping to make this show happen, because without you, it would not be happening. So thank you so much. And of course, as well, a massive thank you to our patrons at the executive producer tiers and above. And those wonderful people include Rob Arman X, Dan Entwistle, Z Patty, Adam O'Sullivan, Floating Mew, Christopher, The D-Pad, Vesmio, Waffle King, Kieran Phillips, Benny Yao, Rosa Bowling, aka Mama Bowling,
hi Mom,
Geller, Shiny Turkey, Titus Malvolio, Jake Pelka, Michael Phone, Mitchell Herring, Jay Acosta, Game Explain, Charles Saz, Andrew Medeiros, Jonathan Belmare, Kitty Kong Facts, Patrick Harrison, 112, Scott Barber, Evernight Studio, Rocks the Cat, Loyal Dingo, Azran127, Phantom23, Sean Garrett, Shadow the Cat, and Guillaume Monet. So thank you all so much for continuing to support the show. It means the world to us. And remember, you can also become a patron over at patreon.com/gbgaming, where you can watch Today's News Tonight live for as little as $5 a month and interact both with us and our special guests throughout the show, like our live viewers did today. But there are also various tiers you can support us at, including as low as $1 a month. But regardless of whether you support us on Patreon or not, we just appreciate that you're here. We appreciate your love and your support and your good vibes. So, as always, thank you so much. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to Good Vibes Gaming for more good times like these. But until next time, good night, good vibes, and happy holidays, everybody. We'll see you after the holiday break. Good night, everybody.
Happy holidays.
Night.
Bye.